Hi, good morning. Um, I'm Errol Baptist doing a breaking news broadcast on YouTube channel in reference that Ealing Council wants to deliver care inside resident damp home ignore housing disrepair. Ealing Council attempt to bribe the service user who is a resident to accept Reablement Package of Care provided in the damp and mold property. Ignored documentary evidence on housing disrepair on May the 22nd, 2023, which is more than 18 months since November 2021. Ealing Council attempt to bribe the service user who is a tenant made no effort to access the housing disrepair linked to damper mold condition, use corrupt practices contrary to the Bribery Act 2010 and the Fraud Act 2006. Ealing Council were involved in the attempt to bribe the claimant out of his litigation case against the council without going through the claimant lawyers by attempting to offer £150 compensation as derisory with chicken feed by attempting to shut down the housing disrepair case on July the 4th, 2023, were offering bribes and soliciting bribe with corruption under the Bribery Act 2010 and under the Fraud Act 2006. Ealing Council used corrupt practices towards the claimant to consider the suggestion of a Reablement Package of Care inside the damp property, which has been described as harassment contrary to the Protection from Harassment Act 1997 and corruption under the Bribery Act 2010. Ealing Council defamed the resident by calling him a liar on the housing disrepair, described as libelous under the Defamation Act 2013. Ealing Council is claiming that the Reablement Package of Care is very suitable to be provided inside the service user damp and mold property. Never consider the evidence on the housing disrepair when it was first reported more than 18 months ago since November 2021. Ealing Council acted with misrepresentation as a corporate organization under Misrepresentation Act 1967 and Fraud Act 2006, committed corruption towards the claimant under the Bribery Act 2010, contravened the United Nations Convention Against Corruption in this respect. Ealing Council defamed the resident by calling him a liar on the housing disrepair, as being libelous, process inaccurate information, as defamatory under the Defamation Act 2013. Ealing Council breached the Data Protection Act 2018 and GDPR in the failure to update the resident vulnerabilities by keeping him inside unsafe accommodation by attempting to provide care inside the damp and mold property linked to the housing disrepair.